kind of day he gets me. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a brand new spanking edition of Kiwanis Connects. I'm coming to you live from the WWDBTV studios in the heart.
I'm not sure that's an appropriate comment based on what we were talking about before the show.
Do we have
I'm
to
coming to you
start
live
all
from
over?
the WWDBTV
Spanking.
Stop. That was 30 seconds ago. WWDB-TV in Las Vegas, and I've totally screwed up my entire intro, so the heck with John.
You want to start all over?
No, I don't want to
Yes,
start all over again.
Please do.
No. This is what live shows are all about. I think you can see us on Facebook and YouTube under the channels. I think you can listen to us on the downloadable mobile app, WWDB-TV to your Android, WWDB-TV LV to your iPhones, and of course, in about, hello Herman, 72 hours, download the WWDB-TV channel to Roku, and you'll get to see all the plethora of shows, not only Kiwanis Connects, but the other thousands of shows, or at least episodes, that are available here on the network. Good morning, Governor Val. Val.
Aloha. An amazing week. I'm so glad to see both of your faces.
Well, you want to tell everybody who's sitting with me? I'll give you the honor if you don't freeze. All right, she's frozen.
I wanted to introduce somebody.
You're freezing up a little bit, but you're good now.
All right. When I look on the screen and I get to see both of your faces, I am so sparkly because my close friend John Buck, who was a lieutenant governor with me, the very first time I got to be lieutenant governor, I'm a serial lieutenant governor, and John Buck is from Hawaii. He's been a trustee for the Hawaiian region, and he's also lieutenant governor. And I think that's because you wanted to serve with me, right, John? You hip checked somebody so that you could be lieutenant governor.
When we're looking for a lieutenant governor, I told him whenever Dr. Val becomes the governor, I'll serve as a lieutenant governor for Division 22 because I had such a great time working with you as a lieutenant governor the first time around.
Oh, that's so cool.
Plus, he lost the poker game, so he had no choice but to do it anyway. When you don't show up, that's what happens. You never know what happens. Want to give a quick shout out to everybody in the chat room. Thank you, everybody, for chiming in. Herman and John Brummer made it on the right day finally, which is great. Chuggy, thank you very much, and everybody else that's out there in YouTube land. Please post your comments on Facebook. If you are watching us on YouTube, you can also post your comments there. John will get those to me to see here in the studio. And again, we're going to sidebar today's show as today is New Purple Shirt Day, replacing the one that Julie literally bought off my back at Decon, but for a good cause. So this is the new shirt that has replaced that one, Julie. You ain't touching this one. So, all right. I got your jokes lined up for later on in the show. We got Val on the road coming up later on. More importantly, though, John is here, Val, to kind of talk to us a little more with your experience. You were just out there last week or so talking about what is currently happening out there in Hawaii. So
I was just out in Hawaii on Thursday through this past Tuesday. And so
okay. Good idea. You got it. By the way, just another shout out, Michelle Sierra Salmons from Auburn, Kiwanis. And I'm guessing that's Auburn, Georgia, right? I hope so. I hope I have my geography right. Last week we had a former governor from England watching last week's show. So we're all over the place. All right. So with that, so Val was out there. Now, she indicated before we went live on the air that you were sort of like her consigliere. You kind of set her up with stuff to do. Why don't you tell everybody kind of what she was out there to do and help and support?
Well, her original...
California, sorry.
Yeah. Her original schedule was to do her official visit.
Gotcha.
We set it up about 2 months ago. And then, unfortunately, we had the fires. And for those people who don't know, besides the fire that just basically destroyed the original capital of Hawaii, there was 2 additional fires. Wow. So when the fires were happening in Lahaina, the firefighters were basically stretched out pretty thin because you had a fire up in the upcountry area, and you had one in Kihei, and the one upcountry, I understand, destroyed over 20 homes up there. And then the first responders were working hard down in Kihei to protect a lot of the subdivisions, and it came up close, and they were evacuating people. So the first responders had a lot going on. So and the thing about the Lahaina fire, it was pretty much they pretty much had it under control, and then of course with the hurricane that was passing through on the south, it just picked up the wind and just just flamed up the fire, and
fan the flames a little bit.
Yeah, fan the flames, and it just went down.
Because it just seemed like, reading the initial reports, like that fire just swept so fast.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that there were 2 other fires out there.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people, because of the destruction in Lahaina, I don't think the other people realized that there was 2 other fires. So the firefighters were stretched pretty thin. I give them credit. They're out there fighting the fires, especially when some of them lived in Lahaina, so they're out fighting fires and and worried about what's going to happen to their families and its destruction. I do know the fire department lost at least 1 fire truck. It got completely burned up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. So anyway, so Val kind of changed her mission going over to Maui. She took a whole bunch of supplies over that needed to be taken over at the request of some people. Right. So she did it work, and then, of course, then she went over to the Big Island. They did a project with the Key Clubs and the club over there. I think it was at the zoo area.
Okay.
And then over in
that's my favorite zoo, actually.
Yeah, it was good, huh?
Kiwanis isn't enough of a zoo for you, huh?
And then I think she went over Friday night, and you went Friday night in Honolulu for the dance.
I did. So disabled, an adult.
With this
disabled adults, yes. So it was amazing. And one of the things I love about that dance that they put together was that this is not drop your charge off and let them dance all night and you go off and get sleep. Every chaperone and guardian needs to be present. And so it actually forms a social group for them. And all the dancing that was going on, it was amazing. It was just amazing. So.
And then Saturday morning, she was on a service project to making Genki balls, and it's a ball it's organic, and what it does is they've been trying to clean up the Alawai Canal.
Okay.
And they throw these balls in, and it kind of eats up all the sludge
and stuff.
Sludge and stuff. And I did see a picture of Val in a canoe. How was that paddling the canoe, Val?
I felt every stroke the day after calling you. It was a beautiful experience. I never thought that I could fit into a canoe. I'm a little wider than the average Hawaiian that's doing the paddle. But what we were doing was so valuable. There are some places where you could literally see the bottom now. And I know, John, in some places it was like 26 inches worth of sludge. Yeah. And since this Genki Ball service project is put into place, there are some areas where it's now down to 6 inches.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it is such an effective project. And so we made 1,042, Genki balls. And so it takes 2 weeks to cure them. And so half of the balls that we made will actually be going to Maui because there's some water sources that they know that have been tainted with the fire and everything. And so they want to pull out all the impurities before it destroys the drinking water. So.
I want to ask a question that I know has been in the news a little bit since last week about rebuilding. So some estimates are talking about maybe a year and a half, 18 months or so. Some people are saying that's too far out. Some people are saying it could be 5 years. I know that Hawaii has some legislation about checking the wood, certifying that it's clean of termites. That can slow things down. The cost of power, manpower coming out there. In your estimates, what do you think realistically would be somewhat of a target timeline for Lahaina to kind of, I don't want to say be back to what it was, but be back to a thriving community again?
It's going to take a couple of years, I think.
Okay.
If anybody who's lived in Hawaii as long as I have, I'm originally from California. Right. So, it was just a matter of you had a disaster someplace, you just load up a bunch of trucks and go caravan out, down that freeway. Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately in Hawaii, it's either fly it in or at a great expense, or
Right.
it comes by ship, and
Mhm.
the ship's usually 5 days. So just the shipping alone, it's going to, bring anything big in to
Mhm.
do the construction. Of course, the just finding the manpower to do it and stuff. So it'll be a while, and then I think they want to be sure whatever they do is, it's what the people want. So
Right.
that might take a little bit of time to decide what they actually want to do with it. They want to kind of keep the historic side, and
Sure.
the main concern right now is and they're changing. They're going to probably enact some new laws and stuff that they don't want the people of Lahaina or even the people of Maui to be scammed or
Mhm.
whatever. So that's one
By
of the things.
developers and all that. Yeah,
You're
I
right,
saw that.
right,
It's a
right.
big concern.
Yeah, right. I mean, there's a rumor going around that somebody wants to buy all the land and develop it into high-priced condos and everything else, and uh, people don't want that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I actually had an experience on the plane when I was flying out, that I had 3 full rows to myself because there's only 12 people on the plane
mm,
going to Maui. And this guy came up from the back end of the plane and he sat beside me and he goes, ma'am, if you're going to, are you going to visit your home? Because if you are, I'd love to go with you because, it's really emotional. And and he was talking so fast. And I really want to help you out because a lot of people, when they go to their property, they just don't want to go back. So I have the authority to write a check for you. And this you just take care of this so you won't ever have to go back and feel bad. And I said, you have 10 seconds to walk away. Otherwise, I will not be able to control my reaction. And he started talking again. And I said, no, no, you are the scum of the earth. If you think that you're going to go in and take people's property with a little bitty check, you shouldn't be on this plane. And I said, so your 10 seconds getting ready to start now. And the flight attendant came and tapped him and she says, I really think that you need to move to the back of the plane. And I said, and you should probably return on the plane. Um, is that the guy's whole reason for going to Maui was to undercut people and buy their property for cash.
yeah, no, that's been a big fear. One thing I should say, Aaron, is that personally, I wasn't affected
Mhm.
directly with the fires. I know Greg Peros, our trustee from Region 18. He was past lieutenant governor for Division 22.
Mhm.
His in-laws lost 2 houses, so they're all staying with him in Kailui. Uh, one of the and where I live, I live in a condo in Kailui, and so some of the people, residents at the condo I'm at,
Mhm.
they're housing some of their family that lost their houses. My concern is right now, and I think we maybe talked before earlier in the show, is that uh, I was talking to my son. My son's over here, dropping off the granddaughter. We were dropping off my granddaughter for school, but their hotel right now is only about 17%. So that's going to probably affect them, me and indirectly, but it'll affect them
Sure.
for lack of employment. So that's why at first they said we didn't want anybody over here because we want to be sure everybody's housed properly. We need room for FEMA. We need room for the.
Right.
But now the push now is to keep businesses going. Is to come on over to Maui. You have to stay out of line.
Right.
There's nothing in line.
There's nothing there.
Yeah, right. So
You mentioned FEMA, and I saw this as a news story. I'll share this, then we'll go to break. That all these FEMA people and government people that are coming in to help support, they're staying in all the luxury rooms in some of the major hotels that are within reach of Lahaina. And many of the people, like you were just talking about, are not happy about that because they're taking up space that people who need a space in the meantime to put their head on a pillow are now not available because a lot of these rooms are being taken up by people who are there to try to help.
Well, I think there might be some truth to that rumor. However, when my son's hotel is only 17%,
True.
there is plenty of rooms, and I do know FEMA now is trying to get the people who are houseless, basically,
Right.
Into the hotel room. So they are working on. That's the thing about social media. They only hear a small
piece,
part,
right.
small part, and not the whole big picture.
Well, it was written by Abraham Lincoln, and anytime I read anything by Lincoln online, I know it's got to be true. Thank you for watching Kiwanis Connects. We're going to step aside for our first break of Morning Patrick. When we come back, Val and John and I will talk about some of the efforts that are going on to support. Val, you got some great stuff to share. Don't go anywhere. Kiwanis Connects will be right back.
Aloha. I am so glad to be able to invite you to Kiwanis Connects on WWDBTV because we have some fascinating shows going on. And so join us on Fridays at 9 a.m. And if you can't join us then, look at all the different links of where you can find us to see the different amazing shows that I do with Aaron and all the crew at WWDBTV.com.
Thank you, Governor Val, for that great message. Good morning, everybody. I'm Aaron Phillips, co-host of Kiwanis Connects with Governor Val, and this message is for all of you great lieutenant governors here in the Cal Neva District. As a reminder, we created a Kiwanis commercial that is dedicated to the clubs here in the Cal Neva District. You've seen it talked about, you've seen it on the show, and on the heels of a recent episode where we talked about branding, a commercial we think is a pretty good tool for you all to have. Now, I want to remind everybody, and there are two options that you can take advantage of. Number one, you could take the existing commercial and simply brand it with your club's information at the end of the message. That's $75 to make that edit. Real simple, and contributions do go to Governor Val Direct to maintain the popular Kiwanis Connect show. Now, if you'd like something a little more detailed and customized with your club specific and pictures and everything that's going on, well, we can do that too. There's three options there. For a 30-second commercial, it's $200. 60-second commercial is $250. And if you'd like 90 seconds to deliver the message, that's only $300. All the work is done here at Worldwide Digital Broadcasting Studios with your support. And reach out to me and I can give you all that information. Email me at KiwanisConnectsInfo@gmail.com. That's KiwanisConnectsInfo@gmail.com. Continued success for the rest of this administrative year and the future for your clubs, and I look forward to seeing you all at the District Convention in August. Thank you, Lieutenant Governors. We appreciate your time and effort. All right, welcome back to Kiwanis Connects. That's right, I'm on video, I'm over here, I'm everywhere. It's like the plague, you know, wherever you want to be, I'm there, and you can't get rid of me because that's what happens.
That's why I stay over here.
That's why John's on the other side of the room. That's right. I am Aaron Phillips. I got John Buck here. He is current Lieutenant Governor, Division 22, and I practiced this before he went on the air. He is a member of the Kiwanis Club of Kahalui. I said it right because I wrote it phonetically. That's why I did that. And Governor Val is there, of course. So, Governor Val, we do have, it looks like Peter is attempting to log in as we speak. So once he's up and running, we'll bring him in. So take it away.
So one of the things that I've been encouraging everybody after my visit to Maui last week is to fly over. It's inexpensive on a couple of the different airlines that are out there to get to Maui at this point. Fly over, rent a car, and take two pieces of luggage. Take one that is all the fun stuff that you need to use and wear because it's warm. You don't need a lot of clothes. And pack the other one with the essentials that are on the essential list. Because one of the things that the Salvation Army captain had shared with me is that there are only about 4 days worth of supplies at any given time of essentials on Maui. And so when you bring in those extra items, that makes a huge difference. And so, John, do you know what they're running short on at this point in time?
I apologize. I don't really know right now because I haven't, I'm still here in the mainland. But I'll be, when I get back Sunday, I'll be able to give you maybe more of an update as far as what's going on.
I think that'd be great. We can put that on our Kiwanis Connects page and have people come back and take a look because I know it's fluid. So you're not knowing, it's just like, yeah, it is absolutely fluid.
Yeah, the outpouring from not only from Kiwanis and I got to give my fellow Kiwanians at the Decon up in Reno last weekend kudos. I say mahalo. I know that the people of Maui appreciate it. But the thing with Lahaina is not just Maui, but it is the whole state of Hawaii. For the simple fact that Hawaii ohana means family. People from other islands got neighbors, relatives or friends who live in Lahaina. The big exodus, after the fire, a lot of the families didn't know where to go, so they decided they go to maybe Kauai or Oahu or the Big Island, because that's where the family is, and stay with family until they can, collect their thoughts and figure out what direction they're going to go. Mm-hmm. So I know when we left, our trip was planned already. When we left Wednesday, the airport was actually really full, and that was because the first night of the fire, you had almost 2,000 people sleeping at the airport. And that's kind of the first time that it ever happened, that they allowed that many people to sleep in the airport, because usually Honolulu Airport, they kind of close up after the last flight goes on.
Wow.
But they were able to accommodate about 2,000 people. And a lot of them were waiting to go to the other islands. Oahu stepped up. Over on Oahu, they opened up the Hawaii Convention Center as a shelter. Mm-hmm. And so they were trying to get about the first Tuesday and Wednesday, they were probably getting about 4,000 people off the island.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the total population of that island? Do you know? I want to put that all in perspective, even if it's a guess.
Probably over 100,000. Okay. I mean, that Maui County itself with the 3 islands is about 160,000. So I say over 100,000.
Okay. All right. I just, with all the numbers of how many people are staying in hotels and stuff, I wanted to kind of put that number in perspective of what the population of that island area would be. So good, Val. Now Val, you sent some stuff. We're still waiting for Peter to try to log in. I may just send him a message to call in if he has the ability to, but what some of the information you shared with us, if you want to share that.
Absolutely. So there are a number of different organizations that are fundraising and looking for funds. And so I know a number of people are donating through the Red Cross. Make sure that whenever you donate through the Red Cross, you need to be very specific in your comments is going. So if you're making a Red Cross donation, please put in there that it is for Maui. And if you can spell Lahaina, that would be great.
John, if we can put that up. You can.
Yeah. So just there you go. And when you do that donation, because the Red Cross operates at a much different level. And so if you put just Hawaii, there are a number of fires going on multiple islands in Hawaii. So you'll want to be very specific. And so the Red Cross has said that they've collected hundreds of millions of dollars so far. And so that's absolutely wonderful. We're actually partnered with the Salvation Army with our local Kiwanis club, because the major for the Salvation Army is a member of the club.
And he's also going to be the incoming president. Comes October 1st.
Absolutely, and he has such an amazing energy and that Kiwanis Ohana spirit that it's just, my heart went out, and I was like, I need to rush back home and empty my Costco and come back.
I want to just, I don't mean to interject, but we have Peter is attempting to connect, and although we don't have a picture, we may have his audio. Peter, are you there, sir? No, doesn't sound like we have his audio. So,
but as soon as he comes in, I want him to explain what he's come up with, and he'll probably relog back in. Our Kiwanis.
I'm sorry. I just emailed him the studio phone line. So if worst case scenario, hopefully he can call in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Beautiful. The other thing that's come up is our CNH Children's Fund has been so amazingly responsive. From the very beginning, they put together a QR code and figured out how we might be able to get some resources and funds out to woohoo. And if you can see that QR code, that's awesome. And if you make a donation through that QR code, it will provide grants to the local clubs so that they can provide programs. And so some of those grants are matching grants. Some of those are non-matching. And so that's another option. But I'm really loving the third one that we came up with in travel, which is that the Kiwanis Club of, I think it's Maui or Ka'alui. Is that the right way to say that?
Well, we have two clubs. You're
Yeah.
talking about their foundations,
We're
right?
talking about the foundations. Yeah.
Okay. Both my club, it was just the Kiwanis Club of Kahului, and Greg's club, our trustee, Kiwanis Club of Maui. Both have foundations, and if they prefer for it to come to our foundations, then we would be sure we will have a better idea where the actual needs are, because what happens is people says, oh, let's give this, and the next thing you know, we got a big pile of goodies, money on this side, but there's another organization, maybe like the senior citizens, and not getting what they need to go. So we, Greg and I know, especially Greg. I mean, he's great. He's with the hotel industry, and he has a lot of contacts, so he knows a lot of. So he kind of knows what's going on, and one of the partners that we were talking about the other day in Reno was the fact that we have what's called Maui Economic Opportunities, which kind of deals with more of the seniors. They have the senior lunch program. They have seniors, and they do a lot with the seniors, but they also do the work with the people who are like new to the islands, or need to start up businesses and things like that. So there's a whole bunch of organizations that will need help.
Well, and I think that's important, because we hear too many times of situations over the years of stuff happening in different parts of the world, and we send money here, U.S. sends goods there, all that sort of stuff. And we really are never 100% sure that it's going to where we want it to go, where it's intended. So hopefully we have the necessary things in place to make sure. I believe we have Peter on the phone line. Hopefully we'll have this working. Peter, good morning. Can you hear me? Aaron Phillips here.
Hear you fine.
Great. Thank you, Peter, for joining us. I have John Buck here, and of course, Governor Val. So Governor Val, take it away. Peter's on the phone line.
Well, Peter, I'm so glad that you were able to make it. And Peter reached out to me because he is in a situation.
And by the way, I can see you guys, and I've logged on and off a couple times. All my indicators are that my cam and Mike are both working.
Okay, well, our producer's going to look at that while we're chatting with you, because like I said, we're not seeing you. We're not hearing you through the video link. So we'll do it the old-fashioned way, but you're welcome to stay on to see us as you're chatting with us. Go ahead, Val.
Okay.
So Peter, can you tell me a little bit about what you have come up with your club, because it's absolutely fascinating, and we'll put up the flyer that you've put together.
John, can you put that flyer up that we had?
Yeah, my strategy, my whole strategy here was to be aware of the sort of roadblocks that typically discourage prospective donors. And the most important roadblock is the donor having raised the question to themselves of, now, who are these people? What are they going to do with my money? What is their expertise in figuring out what to do with the cash? So that sort of convinced me to filter this thing through a series of Kiwanis foundations with all sorts of representation around it of all the wonderful things we do would in fact be distracting. So I did my research, and needless to say, very, very quickly came up with the Hawaii Community Foundation, which already has, I don't know, it's pushing $100 million, I think, that have been donated to them. They are on the ground, in place, in situ, in locality. They know what they're doing. They know everybody. They're connected with dozens of on-the-ground agencies and handing out cash in large amounts as it's needed. So, sorry for the long speech, but I regarded them as pretty well vetted out and thought that they would be the best suggestion to make to prospective donors. So that said, I realize that there's a trade-off here between marketing the Kiwanis brand on the one hand and getting help to Lahaina on the other. And I clearly pitched our approach to get the help to Lahaina quickly.
And I think that that's really important, Peter, how you've done it, because there is a very overwhelming need short term, and then there are going to be some long term needs, just like the Paradise fires, where we're still dealing with the rebuild in Paradise. Um, which, and how many years was that? 4 years now. And so what you're doing, I think, is amazing, and it is ensuring that short-term dollars get to where they need to get to immediately versus being caught up in red tape and administrative fees. So we had put your QR code up, which I think is absolutely wonderful. And I know that you were so responsive. Can you tell us a little bit about why you know you're doing the right thing? Because remember, we did the project in India during COVID, and I got a chance to work with you for that.
No.
Okay, so so for the people who are listening,
it's all guesswork. Yeah, no, I don't really have any expertise with this. I do have a lot of experience, of course, with philanthropic operations generally, and I do know it turns people off. I'm not sure what turns them on, but I know it turns them off when they're thinking about making donations. There's so much skepticism out there about the first question anybody asks is this a scam? And so our defense in our local community is everybody knows Kiwanis, so that gives them credibility. But then if we refer them off to some other entity, then they're going to think, well, what does Kiwanis know about how to pick entities? So I had to be sure that wherever I directed them to, it was self-reassuring. And you go to the Maui Strong site, and you can't help but be swept away with how professional they are.
I have John. Peter, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have John Buck here, who's the lieutenant governor out there in Division 22 for Kiwanis, and he wants to make a comment or have a question.
Well, no,
Sure.
Hawaii Community Foundation does a lot of work with a lot of nonprofits. I am quite familiar with their work, so that is a good choice, either for both the immediate needs and probably for the needs farther down. So that was a good choice. I think that you're right about the concerns of being sure that the monies go to the right entities. That's the fear of everybody is, there's a disaster, and the next thing you know, you got all kinds of people asking for money and on behalf of the fire victims or whatever, and we want to be we want to be sure that that does not happen. That's why we're saying in some ways is go through what you've done with HCF. That's great, or with our foundation on Maui, or for my club or Greg's club, the Maui club,
or the new club, because there's a new club that is division wide that is in formation, and we talked about it, and so all of them are taking it to their board where they will work together to do some long-term projects, and the goal is one, to collect enough resources so that they can put in the first playground, the first rebuild the senior center, and to provide library resources. And so those are long-term projects where they'll be able to bring key clubbers in from around the Kiwanis worlds to come and do feedings. Because as we discovered in Paradise, they were still feeding people in food pantries and that kind of thing over a year out from the fires. And so when the cameras go away and people aren't flashing this disaster, there's still people that need us. That's when kids need Kiwanis.
I was going to say, just while Peter was talking, I put a hashtag together just because it came out of my brain. I just shared it here. Hashtag Kiwanis supports Lahaina. So if you tag anything that will tie back to this show for information, folks, please use that hashtag. Also, for those who are listening to us right now on the mobile apps, please, I encourage you to go back to the show to get the proper spelling of Lahaina if you don't already have it or know it, so that when you make your donation, you could properly earmark it to go to the needs of those in Lahaina. So I'm not going to give it to you to spell, because if you're listening on the app, you might be driving, although you could be listening on the app while you're sitting at the office. So that would be Lahaina. However, information is there. Please go back and do it, because we need to help all the communities there, Kiwanis related or not. We need to help all of our people back there. So Val, go ahead. We have about a minute or two left before we need to go to break.
Well, it's like having Peter on is really, really valuable. And so when you were looking at HCF, what was the most exciting part about that for you? What really resonated?
Oh, very clever. You go, very clear to me. You go to their Maui Strong site, and there's a button that says "Donate here" and a couple things, and then half a screen down, they start with a list of the agencies that they've been donating to, and that was what was so impressive to me, is that they are obviously on the ground and totally plugged in, minute by minute, to who needs what when.
And I love that. I love that because, when I was in Kauai, I walked down the terminal area to get to my gate, and there was a big display that was hashtag Maui Strong, and it had a bunch of donation opportunities and love notes that were being posted with balloons and all kinds of things. And so I really think that they have the direct pipeline into what needs to be supported. So I'm so glad that you brought this forward. And when we come back, I would love to talk about how the flyer that you have and how other clubs around the Kiwanis world can do the same thing you're doing. Because people want to give. They passed the hat in Michigan. They passed the hat in Erie, Pennsylvania at their decon, and in the Oklahoma, Texas district. So Kiwanians want to give. We just want to make sure, like you said, that our money goes to the right thing. So, Aaron, are you ready for break?
I am, but before we actually run the commercials, I have a live read that I'm going to do, because I was thinking about this when we were talking about rebuilding. I know a certain young man that was the hit of the show last week at Decon, that little 8-year-old man that runs around like he's in charge, which he is. Heroes and Hearts will have an event this Sunday called Rock, Paper, Scissors Tournament. God help us all. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I will be there somehow emceeing this tournament. It is this Sunday, 12 p.m., August 27th at the Discovery Children's Museum. It's $9 per participant, 12 and under, $19 for those over 12. You can also bring donations of crayons, books, whatever. I think that'll cover as well. Why do I bring this up? First of all, this is to go to Central Africa to help build a what? A library to help the kids that need books. Sounds to me like we might have to plan for a trip for Heroes and Hearts to go to Maui at some point to get some sort of library safe haven done there as well. With that, we're now going to step aside for our regular break. When we come back, Peter's got some more info. We'll wrap up with John. I got bad dad jokes to end everything and cause Val to go off the rails. And, of course, where she's going in the next week. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
The Granville Allied Gardens Kiwanis Club was founded in 1960. We provide service to Allied Gardens, Grantville, San Carlos, Del Cerro, and surrounding communities of San Diego. Our support extends to the youth of our community by sponsoring programs at Hearst Elementary School K-Kids, Lewis Middle School's Builders Club, Patrick Henry High School's Key Club, and San Diego State University Circle K. Some of our favorite events and charities we support include the First Friday Concerts in the Park, Patriotic Holiday Flags on Waring Road, Meals on Wheels, Cub Scouts, and the Allied Gardens Little League. Join our club. We are looking for people who care about making a difference for our children, for our community, and for our world. For more information about our Kiwanis Club and becoming a member, please visit www.alliedgardenskiwanis.org.
Hi there, welcome back. How's that for timing? I literally went from ending a sentence to turning over here. I was just telling John, Val, about VOOCs, And David last week. That could be another resource to help the families out there with kids that like to read, need to read, stay sharp. If they can't get books, if they have internet, Vooks.com, and there are a lot of specials that are available for educators, reduced membership and all that stuff. Heck, I pledged $50 to cover 10 memberships to help the people out there in Hawaii with kids. So that might be something else that we throw out there. Anyway, with that,
I was gonna say, wait a minute, Aaron. I got to let you know that one of our donors from Palo Alto gave us a really beautiful donation of $200, and
nice.
So we actually bought $200 worth of books for the teachers so that they could use them with their teaching of the kids, because all the kids are being parsed out to other schools on the island if they stayed on island. And so we bought 200 subscriptions at the $5 each to be able to do that. And we also shared the Little Iguana program with the elementary school that's right around that they're in. I think it's Kihei. I may be wrong. Does that sound right?
But the one that was destroyed by the fire.
Yes.
Yeah,
so
that's King Kamehameha III school.
Right. So
what he said. Vanna, can I buy a Val, please? Go ahead.
So what we're doing is because these kids are going to be in a new environment, safety is so important, because for many of them, they may not have ever left their neighborhood or encountered some of these other folks. And so the whole safety and the information that they're going to get from Little Iguana and the opportunity to at least see things on video is going to be really important. So all of our guests are kicking in the best way that they each can.
So when you and I are off the air, I'll message you as to how you want me to send my $50 pledge to get 10 more of those for those kids out there. So anyway, all right, we have 15 minutes left, a little under 15 minutes. So I know you had one other or two other things you wanted to talk with Peter about while we have him.
So Peter, you put together this great program, and I think your goal is to raise $100,000. Is that correct?
Oh, not really. I don't have an objective. My objective was to open the donation opportunity up to the wider non-Kiwanis community, and possibly propagate that through other Kiwanis clubs in their communities who have people who are thinking, geez, I'd like to donate to this, but I don't know what the hell to do. And so this will run, you're aware, Val, of all the flurry yesterday, and it's been going on today, to get this into the local newspaper here in Los Altos next week. And I think we've accomplished that.
Absolutely. And so can you be able to post this on our Kiwanis Connects page so that and put a template out there so that other Kiwanis clubs can use this format and just pop in their logo? Because I think if all of us use the same tool and the same QR code, that would go a long way to getting the monies and information to the right place.
And it's easier to track if you're using one QR code too.
Absolutely.
Now, for those who maybe don't know how to scan a QR code or whatever, how can people still donate maybe an old-fashioned way? How can they do that?
Well, I actually provided several ways to do this. It's in the newspaper, so you can scan the QR code. Or the internet URLs are there, both for Maui Strong and for the local Kiwanis Club. So if you go to either of those websites, you'll start to find links that will get you to a donation page.
Okay.
And I would also like for people to consider sending their funds to the Kahului Kiwanis Club's Foundation, or to the Maui Kiwanis Club's Foundation, so that they can start building up resources to do the projects that are necessary that only Kiwanis does really, really well. There are a number of clubs that are just waiting to know where exactly to send those checks. And so we'll be posting that information on Kiwanis Connects on the website. And those of you who are friends with friends, just share that information out to the wider circle, because this is something that will be going on for quite a long time. So if your club wants to do a special fundraiser that is to the Lahaina recovery, plan it well, and that still will be useful in next April.
Absolutely. This is an ongoing
That's a
effort.
great idea.
Peter, is there anything else that you need to share real quickly before we say goodbye for it with you? To you.
No, I think you've heard me preach long enough.
All right. Well, Peter, we thank you so much for joining us via phone. We'll do it again, maybe when there's more updates and things that we can share with everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and weekend.
Yeah, thank you too, both of you, and always great to see you, Val.
That's great. It's great to hear you, Peter, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Are you back in California?
I am for a couple days.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Peter.
All right.
We'll talk again. All right. There you go. That was great information and great ideas and things that, again, Kiwanis, not only in the California area, but really around the world, can help support what's going on. And that's why we are an international organization, because Kiwanis can help from anywhere at any time. So please step up and do that. We appreciate it. And let's keep doing it. Val, let's go back to John for a few more minutes as we wrap up. We have just about 10 minutes left, which means we're coming around the clubhouse turn for Val on the road and dad jokes and saying goodbye for another week. What else we have for John?
Well,
Well,
can I promote that next year our district
Please.
convention?
Yes.
District convention is on the Big Island.
Woohoo.
We're looking for everybody to come on over, and then of course make it a vacation. You go to the conference for a few days. Either come early and travel the other islands, and especially come over to Maui, support Maui. Fantastic hotel. If you've never swam with a manta ray, they have the manta rays. There's a bay right there where you can see the manta rays, and they give you opportunities. Beautiful golf course. It's beautiful, but we do a lot. You'll get to learn more. I mean, we did a little bit at Reno, the Hawaiian culture, but you'll find out what ohana and aloha really means when you come to the Big Island next August.
What's the water temperature like at that time of year?
The water temperature is about 80, 81.
Woo-wee. Walk-inable. I like walk-inable water.
Oh yeah.
I owe my
You know,
wife. I owe my wife a trip to Hawaii for sending me to the Pro Bowl in 2009. I think I have a way to make that happen now.
Tell them it's Kiwanis business.
That's right. That's right. The Voice LLC will write it off as a marketing trip. Anyway, go ahead, Val.
well, I want to be able to market it off as a voluntation, and so I think that would be really awesome, John, if we could work together. Since I won't be governor and you won't be lieutenant governor, we may have a little bit of time to make this plan
Right.
where the 3 days or 4 days after convention or before convention, people can fly in to Maui, and we'll schedule buses to go over and do whatever service project for 2 or 3 days. It's kind of like Habitat for Humanity on steroids. and some tax person, I'll do this so that you know who I'm talking about, said that when you do voluntations, you write off your travel on your taxes. You just have to talk to your tax advisor. So being able to go to Maui and volunteer would be a great use of your time as well, and a great way to teach your kids.
However, that Friday still better be reserved for Kiwanis Connects live from Hawaii.
There you go.
There we go. One other question. How was the bond dance Saturday night?
Oh my goodness. I even learned how to bond dance, and so I can do the dig.
You said bond, like B-O-N-D?
B-O-N.
Oh,
The community came together so well, and it's a Japanese celebration of their ancestors, and it's an opportunity for the ancestors to come back and join in. And it's a very upbeat process. And so I can share with it really brought back a lot of memories of when I lived in Japan as a kid, and just the sense of ohana that exists even in the when we're in the middle of devastation, because there were bond dances, I think, going on all month long. Right, John?
Yeah. All over the part of the islands, yeah.
Yeah, because
Wow.
there's such a high Japanese presence and the Buddhist temples are phenomenal. So please don't think that I went to Maui and that I broke all my fingernails during service. Only I got a chance to really appreciate and enjoy everything that our Kiwanians had to offer in Kauai, in Hilo, in Honolulu, and in Maui. And so for me, it was a wonderful governor's visit and on a monthly basis because I believe that you put your time and your treasure in what your priorities are, and bringing back Maui strong and supporting our Division 22, Region 18 is priority one. So.
Now that we know where Val has been, that can only mean one thing. That means it's time to know where Val is going, which means it is time for Val on the road. Take it away.
I am so Barbie. Oh my goodness.
I want to thank the internet for providing that picture, by the way.
It's so indicative of what my vehicle looks like right now. I am all packed up because this afternoon I am headed onto the Monterey Peninsula to deliver a number of packages for, there's one special project that's called Quilts for Kids. They're building up a cache of quilts for, and they're actually sewing them so that kids over the winter will have warm blankets. And so their goal, I think her goal is to do 250 of these. And so I've got the material. My sewing skills aren't that great. But I'm also picking up 500 posters for kids around the Monterey Peninsula so that they can learn about the ecology and what's going on here. So my car will be emptied again tomorrow. So that I head down to Santa Barbara and Simi Valley to hang out and do a governor's visit. And on Sunday, I head back up to the Madonna Inn in San Luis Obispo. Amazing. And I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to get to downtown Las Vegas to help you guys celebrate opening the club. We have so many members that are ready to do service. We just haven't completed that project. And so my hope is that we'll figure this out. And I end my week in San Diego. And so the amazing Division 37 has me going to the horse races and doing a dinner and all kinds of fun stuff. And so this week is going to fly. And it's week number 5.
Oh, jeez. How many days are left? About 30 something?
36.
There you go. 36. Well, in Jewishness, that's 2 chais. Chai, the number 18, is a lucky number. So when you're on 36, it's just a multiple of 2, which means twice the luck. The rest of the way is what we wish for people. So there you go. We got a lot to do in 36 days.
A lot to do.
All right. Well, the Downtown Kiwanis Club here, we're ready to rock and roll. So I know that'll be done soon. John and I are representative of that club as our businesses are part of it. So we're excited to get things rocking and rolling. All right. Anything else you want to take care of business-wise for yourself, with John? Otherwise, it's time to end the show with my favorite segment of the day.
I do want to do a shout out. I know for some people, the Hurricane Hillary was a bust. But for others, Hurricane Hillary hit them really hard. We were supposed to go down to Indio, but parts of the 10 and the 210 freeway are completely closed off. Wow. And one of my favorite places that I didn't know anything about before this year is Mecca. And Mecca provides so many resources to so many people out in the Coachella Valley area. It has been hit hard. So if you get the opportunity to go out there and help with the cleanup, that would be really wonderful. And we will indeed be opening the Indio Kiwanis Club because they are so ready for the revitalization of Indio. And so my hearts go out to those that were impacted by the hurricane. And just know that you've got Kiwanis friends around the world. All you need to do is give us a shout and we'll be there to support you.
Right on. John, you have the floor there, sir. You raised your hand a moment ago.
Yeah, your mic's no longer working.
Mine? Yeah, shut up. He unplugged me for the jokes. That's okay. I just take this one. All right. Good stuff. Listen, 36 days, folks. 36. And by the way, I keep pushing it. Get those commercials done for your club because the donations for that will allow this show to continue. And I'm going to jump the shark, and I'm going to tell you that our plans is to continue this show into the new administrative year as well. So stay with us, but we need your support. Do those commercials because it's only going to help your branding, for crying out loud. So let's do it. All right, John, thank you for coming in, sir.
You're
Pleasure. Oh, not you. You have to be here. You got to make us all sound good at least.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm glad you were in town. He's in town. His daughter's getting settled at UNLV. You talk about Kiwanis helping others. I gave John one of my cards to give to his daughter. Should there be a need for anything that she should reach out to me and my wife for anything if she needs it. All right. With that, I got 3 for you, Val. I'm doing 3s now.
Oh,
I only have 36 days left under your tenure, and I got a lot more jokes than that, so I'm going by 3s now. Here's joke number 1. How do Eskimos repair broken dishes? With igloo. She's already hiding her face after the first one. Wait till the next one. Number 2, why did the cookie go to the doctor? Nobody? It felt crummy. And last but not least, Val's trying to hold that one in. No, that ain't going to work. Last one, Val. Did you hear about the emotional wedding? Even the cake was in tears. That's it. See? One of them just sends her off the rails. Got it on the last one. I know one of the 3. That's why I'm going to do 3s. One of them will totally send her off the rails. All right. With that, another great show. Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Remember, please share this video with anybody and everybody so that this way we can help Lahaina in any way possible. Lahaina. If you're going to make a donation, please make sure you're earmarked it for that. Once again, we want to thank John Buck for coming in. Ms. Val, final thoughts of the day.
I am so thankful that I'm a Kiwanian because I have met so many amazing people around the world that truly care. And so thank you, thank you, thank you. And keep on being Maui strong, Kiwanis strong, and just being kind.
Right on. A couple of programming notes tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for Thoughts Count Anywhere. We have a 2-hour show scheduled tomorrow from 9 to 11.
Is that tomorrow?
That's tomorrow. Don't be late because otherwise we'll be in trouble.
Yeah.
We have a lot to talk about. Unfortunately, we also have to talk about the passing of Terry Funk earlier this week. And, of course, the breaking news last night as I broke on the roundtable, Bray Wyatt, Wyndham Rotundo at the age of 36 passed away with looks like of a heart attack. Bray Wyatt was his character. The world of pro wrestling is saddened, saddened by any loss, but we're definitely saddened by Bray's passing. But we'll be live, and at 12 o'clock tomorrow, Aaron's Hour will be down there live as well. We'll continue the coverage of Sam's Town. The Power Play Sports Collectibles Toy and Collectible Show is happening from 10 to 5 both days. But on Sunday, I will open up the show down there with those guys, but by 12 o'clock, I will be over at the Discovery Children's Museum with Justin and Heroes and Hearts to put on my tap shoes and figure out a way to cover and MC a rock, paper, scissors tournament. I thought selling a shirt off my back was something. However, doing something with rock, paper, scissors when I was an odds and evens guy, this will be fun to do. With that, as I always like to say, be kind to everybody. Why? We're all we have. We'll see you next time right here on Kiwanis Connects. Feel free to dance.